This video is brought to you by GameMaker, the free, fast, and easy-to-use 2D game engine that helps power modern classics like Undertale, Hotline Miami, and Hyper Light Drifter. Starter templates, official asset bundles, and a wealth of tutorials are available to help bring your ideas to life. And you can export and share your game for free on all non-console platforms. But you don't have to take my word for it, I'm just some jerk. We have an actual bona fide game maker on hand.
Oh shit, that's me. Yes, I've been using GameMaker for a long time. It's probably the most powerful and easiest to use engine for making 2D games out there, suitable for both amateurs and hardcore coders, and with all the Steam and console integration stuff for when you're ready to start monetizing your hobbies. I used it to make my recently released game, Starstruck Vagabond, which has already delighted thousands of sci-fi cozy game aficionados, thanks to GameMaker being so bloody great.
Head on over to the GameMaker link in the description to begin your game development journey today.
Hello.
Hello?
Shitty chats.
All right.
Can you hear us
Yeah,
now?
let's take it from the top. That was it's such a shame. It was a great intro. We got to give props to Yachts. Let's see if he can do it a second time.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. It's morning where I am. I'm on the West Coast. Represent. I'm Yahtzee. I'm joined by Jay and Marty, and we're talking about handhelds on the Windbreakers podcast, which I think is because last week, at the very end of reading out super chats, was it Alex Armstrong just brought up the DS out of nowhere?
Yeah. This is the Alex Armstrong Memorial.
That was.
I'm laughing because
that was,
we've sort of been making the exact same comments and jokes we made for the first time. But
It was
Yahtzee didn't give
nearly
me time
word
to
for
whoop,
word.
whoop. He didn't give me time to
Yeah.
whoop whoop.
that
Hey,
was
I
also
I record my own audiobooks. I'm a fucking professional. Thank you very much.
clearly.
You didn't leave space for whoop.
Sorry.
You also stole Marty's knowledge of the Alex Armstrong.
Yeah.
And you took
I-
that. You
I-
claimed
yeah.
that for yourself.
That was cheeky of me, wasn't it?
That was good.
I
That was
know.
good. I appreciate that. But yeah, Alex last week during our topic on janky games just brought up handhelds, and we got very angry and we screamed at Alex, and then we stole it from Alex, and now that is our topic this week. So
Because there's like a whole other podcast in there.
whole other podcast.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Yeah.
Because I want to say handhelds really aren't as big a thing as they used to be. It used to be this whole side thing to the console generations as a whole. These days, you have the Switch, which basically is a handheld and a traditional console in one. Like the two streams finally crossed and merged.
Mm.
And that's kind of it. I mean, unless you want to count mobile games, and who does?
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, handhelds now, dedicated handhelds are kind of a thing in the past. I mean, handhelds now are more ubiquitous than ever. We have Steam Decks. We had 1,000 different little pocket computers like Steam Decks. We have all the different handheld emulators and everything. But yeah, we're sort of looking back at a time when, you know, Nintendo, Sony, and the likes would make a handheld, and the games would be made for the handheld that were very much different than their console console counterparts.
And that was generally because the handheld would be necessarily lower power and have less processing power to be able to fit into a small device. These days, it fits much more easily into a small device, so you can have a handheld that basically does the same thing as a standard console.
Yeah. My question would be, do you both own Switches, as do I?
Yep.
Do you commonly use them in handheld or docked mode?
Actually, I do use my Switch frequently in handheld mode because then I don't have to switch over my TV channel, and I can put something on the TV that I can watch in the background.
Classic
If you're asking me if I
second
ever
screen
actually go out and about with a handheld and play it on the bus or on the train or whatever, absolutely fucking not. Do you want to get
That would
mugged?
involve
That's
going
how you
out,
get
right?
mugged.
That's true.
You can bug. 99% of my Switch play is in handheld. I only dock it when I stream or capture footage. Like I put 120 hours
Interesting.
in Tears of the Kingdom,
Yes.
and every second of it was handheld.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
That being the case, I want to say handheld feels more like a kid's thing because kids are more likely to be, going to school, swapping their Pokemons together, having to kill time on the bus, coming
Not
back
having
and forth
access to
from
the
school.
TV because the parents are watching stuff.
Yeah,
Aha.
that's when I started handheld gaming. That's what mine was. My first handheld was a Game Boy Pocket, which was the revision of the original Game Boy, and I got it probably 94, 95, like shortly before Pokemon came out. But I got it for Link's Awakening. And I remember being like, oh my God, this feels like the future. There's a Zelda game that I could put in my pocket and play only using batteries that will have like an 8-hour maximum to them.
Well, for the longest time, the Game Boy had very little competition because everyone else was trying to not have a 4-color screen and have a backlight. And the end result was a very short battery life, like the Sega Game Gear.
Yeah, I think they had 8 batteries.
8 fucking batteries, and you get like half an hour of play out of them.
Yeah. The Atari Lynx. There were a lot of competitors, but it became very obvious very early on that for that opening decade, Nintendo kind of owned the handheld market. Even though all the competitors, like you said, were technically more powerful and could display games in more than the monochromatic green tinted color.
Nintendo understood the limitations of the tech, and where the fuck was that in sight when the Virtual Boy became a thing? Would be my question.
They didn't understand that, did they?
What do you count the Virtual? Is the Virtual Boy a handheld?
No,
they count it as one, so I think we should.
You had to mount it on a fucking tabletop to get it to work.
It was insane. Like, it was a genuinely insane thing, and it just gave you headaches after like 5 minutes.
It's a fever dream. The fact that it was all red and black, it feels like a nightmare. Like, it feels
it literally does looking into like a little window into hell.
Yeah.
What's the point of VR without head tracking? That's just sitting really close to a TV.
Well, that's why everyone got headaches. And Nintendo never made a mistake again. Yep, never ever again.
No,
did you guys have Game Boys, like original Game Boys? Jay,
my
you must have had, for a Pokemon, right?
It was my
fling ding. I spent fucking like entire days playing Super Mario Land on the original Game Boy. That was like the only game I had.
That it was also, I have footage of this. I wish I got this for like a clip of this for this stream. I have footage of me opening my first ever game and game console, and it was a Game Boy and a copy of Pokemon Yellow.
That should be a Patreon exclusive video this year.
Right. We'll get those.
I already filmed it when I was a child.
My baby videos. So yeah, like for me, I guess this is why I guess I'm so nostalgic for Pokemon. It was the first experience of playing a game and it being handheld. Like you said, battery life was a bitch, but you know, we didn't know any better back then, right? So yeah, Game Boy, and then I kind of stayed along that kind of handheld Nintendo train, you know, going into the Game Boy Color, the SP, the Advance, you know, stuff like that. So I kind of stayed on that train.
You know, part of what I appreciate about handhelds, especially around the DS era, is that there was none of that obligation to embrace like 3D graphics the way mainline consoles did, and that's why Castlevania in the PS2 era fucking sucked shit. But we had like a fucking legion of really great handheld Castlevania games.
Like a renaissance of them. It was beautiful.
Because what do you know? It works best in 2D. A 2D game works best in 2D.
Yeah, it was funny. It almost felt like we were taking a peek into like an alternate universe where the technology was like 5 to 10 years behind, but the like design sensibilities were modern. So you
Yeah.
got those 2D Zelda games that weren't just like kind of the simplistic 2D Zelda games we got on the NES and the SNES, but they were of the Symphony of the Night mold. Like they were the sort of sprawling RPG Metroidvanias, and while like you said, while everyone else was chasing 3D, you still had these developers making 2D things for the GBA and for the DS.
I mean, the handhelds did chase 3D in a sense, in that Nintendo brought out the 3DS, which had 3D.
Chase
if you
literal
like-
3D.
if you like. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually playing 3DS. I was about to say right now, but that's not true. I'm currently playing
I wouldn't put it past you. You've done it in the past.
on stream. I'm playing. I'm replaying Ocarina of Time 3D. That's a game I replay every so often, and I've only played the 3D version once. And so going through it now, I'm gonna be honest. The 3DS, a very neat immediate gimmick that I turn off instantly when I play a game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
like,
yes, absolutely. I
but-
think I once played a game that had sort of isometric gameplay, and it actually helped figure out what was in front of what.
that
That's
might have
like the
been
only time.
Mario Land. The Mario 3D Land is actually much easier if you play it with 3D, because a lot of the, like, from the camera angle and a lot of the jumps and the way the levels are laid out is like 3D is almost required to be able to play that game well.
The 3DS had a ton of gimmicks. There was the Street Pass thing, which was part of this ongoing sort of background effort that occasionally crops up in video games where they try to make it into a more sociable activity.
Yeah.
And it's never really stuck. None of those like efforts have ever really stuck, because who the fuck wants to be sociable while they're playing video games? I gotta get my high scores, bitch.
It also made me feel like a Street Pass made me feel like a creep, because you'd get a ping that, oh, you're doing a trade or whatever, there's a Street Pass person nearby, and then I just start looking for the person, like, who is it that's got their DS in their pocket here? I just feel like a creep.
when I first got a 3DS that had the Street Pass gimmick, I made a point of turning it on and then just sort of lingeringly walking around Brisbane city centre for a while. At one time, I was walking through like the War Memorial Square, and I found like a school trip, like a bunch of high school kids. And my first thought was fucking jackpot. And my second thought was, I am being really fucking creepy right now.
Yeah.
I'm hanging around these kids to try and get my pocket monsters.
It's funny. Mine weren't creepy at all, because I would take it to, I was in the industry and just going to industry events. So I would take it to like PAX and Comic-Con and E3. I remember getting like a Reggie me. I was like, oh, Reggie, he's in my 3DS. I own that large man. Which, yeah, it was one of those things where it was neat for a little while, and then afterwards I was like, I don't care about any of this. I don't care about.
I mean, I sort of respect the hustle. I mean, absolutely no one was fucking asking for it or even fucking imagined it before Nintendo did. And we didn't, they didn't know if we wanted it. We didn't know if we wanted it, but we gosh darn gave it a try.
I mean, that goes back to like handheld gaming from the beginning. Is like Nintendo didn't, I don't know if they knew this was going to be a hit, but launching that thing alongside Tetris, proved to be a system seller.
The very first Pokemon was all about swapping monsters with your mates.
Getting a link cable, buying 2 copies of the game. It was such a huge leap once the Game Boy Advance SP came out, because until then, none of my screens were backlit. Which the horrors of trying to play a game on an unlit back screen is if you don't know those pains, you will never understand. Like,
did you ever have
riding
those
home
attachments?
at night? I did. I had some of those attachments, and you just made it look like ugly as shit, like a magnifying glass and like a little snake light. But yeah, like riding home from like family gatherings and playing it out the window, only playing it for a few seconds when the street light comes by. Like, that is like a ingrained memory for me. That
makes me feel warm, dude. That's so good.
Yeah, right. It's like something I'm never gonna have to deal with again. But it's something I'm glad I did.
You had a visit to the Bunny Planet.
The bunny was that Mario?
Fucking see who gets that. Yeah.
Did you guys have what? Oh, so we've only been talking about Nintendo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys ever partake in the Sony side of things once the PSP and the Vita came out?
Oh Christ! Only after I became a game critic, and only because I had to get a PSP to play certain exclusives. Like, I think I had to get one to play Peace Walker, and it was literally the only thing I ever played on it. I think I played Loco Roco on it as well.
Did you when did you play Persona 4? Did you play it when it came to Steam?
No, yes. First time I played it was when it was released on Steam.
Okay, gotcha.
Certainly didn't play it on PS2. Certainly didn't play
Yeah.
it on PS
On
Vita
Vita.
either.
Yeah, yeah.
I never had a Vita. I only played Gravity Rush once it came to
PS4.
consoles as well.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have one, Jay?
For me, the PSP was like a mythical item. So I had, my SP, I had a DS and stuff like that when I was younger. But my cousin, who I'd spent a lot of time with, had a PSP. And for me, it felt like a more adult version of a handheld that had, more adult games. Like, there's a version of God of War on there, Metal Gear, stuff like that. And I was like, would just be fascinated by it. And also the tiny little nubbins for the analog sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah, they're grim, but it just fascinated me, like the entire thing, and it just felt like this more adult thing. But then as I got older and I realized there weren't like a horrific amount of games on it that I wanted to play, I stopped caring, so I stopped asking for them.
You've reminded me, I generally didn't like playing games on handhelds because of my huge masculine hands. I'd have to really cramp my fingers up to get my thumbs in on those sticks.
Old big hands.
That's why I don't play Switch handheld, because it just hurts my hands after like 20 minutes.
I transfer the Joy-Cons to like the controller housing, and even that feels a little too small for my manly hands.
Last time I was in Japan, I went to a doctor who was able to break certain bones in your hands to make them smaller so that you can play Switch handheld so much. So
no, you fucking didn't.
I can give you guys the info on that. PSP was interesting because while the games on Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and stuff that Nintendo was doing felt just like, oh, we're doing Zelda, but it's still going to be top down in 2D, or we're doing Castlevania and it's still going to be a side scroller. The PSP and Vita versions of big franchise, it was always interesting to see like how a developer is going to try to take that console experience and shrink it down, and what concessions are going to need to be made. And a lot of times that was, oh, we're going to do Metal Gear or we're going to do Final Fantasy, but we're going to turn it into these really small bite-sized missions.
Yeah.
And it made sense portable and everything.
I've just remembered I played Silent Hill Origins on the PSP as well.
There you go. Well, yeah, that was original on PSP.
That wasn't like, didn't really feel stripped down at all. That was like a full-on Silent Hill game. Wasn't very good.
Sure. But, the technology wasn't the reason it wasn't good, though.
No, quite.
Yeah.
I feel like devs got a lot of time to breathe in portable games, like we were talking about with Zelda and stuff like that. They're usually offshoots of existing franchises and given spin-off games. But a lot of the times they have these really creative ideas in them, and they're trying to do something different. And I think it's was really useful for these devs to have that space to breathe, because there's not as much pressure on, this isn't a mainline Uncharted game, right? We're doing a spin-off on the Vita or whatever.
Yeah. There was a lot of third-party jank on the Nintendo handhelds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was
Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen games.
Which are now probably super valuable for some godforsaken reason.
Wasn't the PSP like really popular in Japan? I remember hearing
it was really popular. It became like a big, because like unlike you who's afraid to play games on a train because someone will steal it. In Japan, no one's gonna steal your things, so it became like big on commutes. And the PSP felt like whereas Nintendo handhelds kind of felt like toys, looked like toys. The PSP was like, ooh, this is a piece of technology, and you can watch UMDs on here. You can watch Spider-Man 2 on your UMD. Yeah. Which
UMDs.
I don't know. I'm curious if anyone in the audience actually watched movies on there, because I sure as hell didn't. But
well, why would you?
It did feel a little bit like prophetic of, well, now people just watch shit on their phones all the time. So it was like, it felt maybe like a little bit of just a little ahead of the curve. But it was,
I guess phones kind of killed handhelds at the same time they killed cameras and radios and everything else that smartphones now do.
Yeah.
Interesting that Microsoft never got in on that, considering Nintendo had their handheld and Sony had their handheld.
So it's funny because it felt like after like Sony stopped with the Vita that it was kind of like, all right, well, they're just going to leave Nintendo in the handheld wars, and Nintendo's going to win, and nothing's happening, and then you just have phones and you have Nintendo things. But now with the success of Switch and the success of the sort of pocket computers, I mean, they're not actually, they're way too big to fit in a pocket, but like Steam Deck and everything, the pendulum's swinging back, and both Sony and Microsoft have announced that they have dedicated portables in development. So 3 years from now, we're gonna have a Microsoft handheld, and we're gonna have a PlayStation handheld that isn't just the PlayStation Portal, which I have, which just streams games. Like it's gonna be a dedicated. Your games are on here. Now, I don't think they're gonna be. It's gonna be a completely different SKU. It's not gonna be like, oh, you're playing the handheld Xbox version of a game, which is way different than the console version.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same thing. You're just gonna be playing your library on the go.
Yeah, Steam Decks. Everyone's going to have Steam Decks now.
Yep.
Oh yes.
Which I like my Steam Deck. I play my Steam Deck quite a bit, honestly.
Yeah, I want one for traveling, but
yeah,
it's hard to justify when you got a beefy PC, you know.
I think it's true. There will always be a market for portable games. I myself like playing games on my laptop in the evening, and so I need to keep a library of fairly low stress games that I can run on less good computer.
Yeah.
So it seems like handhelds and the mainstream markets have just sort of merged is in the way that the Nintendo Switch handily represents in sort of visual metaphor style.
Yeah,
they were working at it for a while. They were trying to do it with the Wii U, but it fucking sucked because
they didn't go hard enough on it, in my opinion. With the Wii
I don't
U,
think I don't think the tech was quite there yet when the Wii U first came out.
Yeah, you still had to be within, Wi-Fi shot of your
console.
Box.
Nintendo in a nutshell, right? They tried that with the Virtual Boy. Technology wasn't really there. The 3D on the 3DS, it only worked 5% of the time.
Yeah, just think Nintendo have like a dedicated VR system in the works.
I mean, they had their little Labo, the shitty the like cardboard cutout that you'd put around your eyes for that. I don't know if they have a VR. I'd be surprised. Well, I'm sure they have some R&D for it, but I'd be surprised if they release a VR thing.
They're putting all of their eggs in the Switch 2 basket. Like they can't not be. I mean, that's a question that I'd love to ask you guys. Speaking of handhelds, what do you think is going to be coming with the Switch 2? What features in the handheld would you like to see?
I would like to see.
It's gonna be such a dumb answer. If it's just a slightly more powerful Switch with a nicer screen, I'll be happy. I don't know, what. I don't want a dual screen thing again, even though the dual screen thing kind of sucks in retrospect because it's so hard to. It's hard to even emulate the games and get them to not look kind of shitty. And so you have to rely on the occasional ports, like the Castlevania DS collection port that just came out a little while ago. They had to put in the work to be like, all right, how are these games going to work without a second screen that you are constantly using a stylus on? So I don't know, something just simple. But Nintendo usually doesn't do just simple. They usually do something fucking weird.
No. How about to accommodate the larger-handed gentleman? It's Joy-Cons, but they sort of transform like Voltron, so you can pull bits apart to turn them into slightly larger controllers.
Oh my god! Yeah, maybe when you take them off, they can automatically clip together to be a full controller. I think they're going to go weird,
full-on palm rests.
Yeah, right. I think they're going to do something weird. I think there could be a dual screen thing. I doubt it. They would require a huge diversion in how the games are made for it, and I don't think they want that. I think they might do something weird, like have a foldable screen. Like we're seeing Samsung do a lot of stuff like that, being able to fold the console in half and have it have a smaller footprint. Well,
you can fold any screen. The trick is getting it to fold and then having it still work afterwards.
Exactly, yeah. But folding technology has come a really long way, and I think we could potentially see something like that. I can't really see much of a benefit, but Nintendo always have to have something, and the Switch 2, whatever they're going to call it, that it doesn't really feel like it's going to be the Switch, but slightly better. I think they kind of did that with the OLED. I think because they're waiting for this, it's probably going to be what they think is going to be a big step. Maybe you can fry eggs on the back of it because they get so hot and the Joy-Con transforms into a spatula or some shit.
Arctic Eggs, launch title confirmed.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
I think handhelds should merge with VR or AR. I think you should have be able to have like a controller in your hands and wear like a special pair of glasses that just has like the screen of the game in the corner of your vision, so you can still watch for murderers while you're playing on public transport. I live in the Bay Area, can you tell?
Yeah.
And
West Coast represent.
Yeah, and you just play games like that, and maybe because I think the problem with VR right now is that it's still a bit too heavy for my face.
Yeah.
Because I like the wireless ones. I think I don't want to go back
Battery
to
life
non-wired.
being a huge issue again.
I don't want to go back to wired, so I just think it's technology to advance enough that it can be lightweight and sit on my face without giving me headaches.
Yeah. It's also like space is a huge thing with VR. I agree. I think VR and AR is some of the most untapped potential we have. I mean, I think most people are either for or against VR, regardless of its setbacks right now. But I think a huge issue is space.
Yes.
And also design.
I think the other issue with wearable tech that I think Google Glass has run into is that they need to find a way to design it so you don't look like a complete bellend.
I don't think gamers have an issue looking like a bellend.
I think if you can create a pair of sunglasses that just look like a pair of sunglasses and that you can just play games on the train, then that's what I want.
I also think a lot of people just don't want to put a thing that completely isolates them from reality. I think
that's why AR is really good, right?
Yeah, that's why AR and like Google Glass.
That's why I said like just having a screen in the corner of your vision, like while you play with a standard controller like a handheld.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Full on VR, like completely cutting yourself off from reality is part of the things that means VR will probably always be niche.
The new Quest and stuff has really good pass through and does like screen emulation, so you can effectively work on a desktop while seeing your environment. Just have a desk and it simulates screens in front of you. Like the pass through technology is getting really good. It's now getting to the point where it can just track your hands with no controllers. Like we're getting there. The thing is if people want VR to progress, buy a fucking headset, buy games, because if you don't buy the games on the console, developers aren't going to want to make things for it, which means the headsets can't exist.
But that's
Second wind. Buy me a fucking Quest 3 so I can review Arkham Shadow now.
Yahtzee, if you said I bought a Quest 3, I'm going to expense it, I can't imagine any of us would say no.
I can't be bothered. I demand things come to my bedroom window.
Jesse Swab would say no. I just got a feeling.
Jesse would just be anti-Quest.
Yeah.
It's so weird that I don't like saying like you need to buy things in order for this thing to exist. Like they need to make a thing that's going to get me to buy the thing, like convince me to buy this thing.
That's fair, but like it's such a weird cyclical circle of headsets aren't selling enough, so devs aren't making games, and headsets aren't selling enough because devs aren't making games. So like it's a weird investment. I want to play
Half-Life Alyx and I want to play this Batman thing. Oh, that's all. Those are the only two I want to play. So I'm like,
so you can get a MetaQuest 3 512 gig for $500, or you can get a 128 gig for $300. That's very affordable.
My mum plays on it every day. Like she loves our Quest. If the battery life was better on it, I'd get one too. But
I imagine it's gonna get there, right? Like, is it like phones?
You can buy like a battery pack that can go on the back of your head as well, but then that's just more shit on my face, and I don't want shit on my face.
Let me plug it into my spine and let my spine power.
I mean, even just like attach some fridge magnets there just to counterweight the front would probably do.
That's what the battery does. It's very good at. It's a bit more weight on the back, so the front and the Quest 3's got a really light face plate here, but the battery does counterweight it slightly, so it feels more like you're wearing like a crash helmet.
Yeah, I do think one of the reasons we're seeing this kind of resurgence of handhelds, if not necessarily dedicated handhelds, but like handheld-ish computers and emulators and stuff, is just the new generation and all of us being trained to multitask, to not really pay attention to anything fully. Like I play handheld games all the time while watching a movie or a TV show or football or something, and it's not something like if I really give a shit about something, I'm not going to play, or if I'm really invested in the game, I'm not going to watch. But when I'm like meh on both of them, I'm like, all right, they're in. I'm going to do two things poorly, and that's going to be my Sunday. Yeah.
So when we meet for Omar's wedding, right, and we're talking, and you're like smashing some Zelda out on your whatever on your Switch, I'll be like, okay, he cares about this conversation we're having right now.
But I'm going to be able to take a picture of the wedding, and I'm going to be able to view it in 3D. And let's see.
Oh my god!
I actually don't know if a 3DS could do that.
That would be amazing if it could.
Yeah. There you
go. I remember you could point the camera at your desk and make a Mario block appear on the desk in the screen.
AR tracking, yay!
I do feel like Nintendo that could be the one thing in the new Switch. I could feel a little AR, some bullshit where the Switch is acknowledging the real world around you, and somehow it's not like every game is going to do this, but the ability to Nintendo's even done it a little bit with that the Mario Kart you could buy like the Mario Kart race car thing and then play a game on it using your Switch or whatever.
That would be such a cool like game in general. Imagine so AR's through tracking and like detecting what's on your camera and then placing objects inside, but you could do it in reverse where what the AR sees, it can translate into like, different creatures. Instead of hunting for Pokemon, you're hunting for things in the world, right? Like it says, go find a lamppost, go find this, and then you get rewards and things for going around and doing things. But then we'd have to leave the house, and nobody wants that.
But I could just like envision the Nintendo trailer for a Mario game. It's not a core Mario 3D platformer, but it's a Mario platformer where you like hold up your Switch and he's platforming around the shit in your house.
Yeah.
So jumping on your dog and like fucking knocking a pie off the windowsill. I don't know why you have a pie on the windowsill. You're like weird
because
grandma.
You wish you lived in the 1950s.
Very Norman Rockwell, isn't it?
Incredibly, yeah. He was a big fan of the Nintendo Switch. He was playing it at that Nighthawk's diner.
That wasn't Norman Rockwell.
Was it?
No.
Yeah, my mistake.
Who painted Nighthawks? Someone will know.
Scraw! Hopper. Edward Hopper.
There you go.
Congrats.
Sorry, I'm just distracted looking at the Meta Quest 3 on Amazon. If I order today, I can get it. If I order now, I can get it today, this afternoon.
Today?
Hey, and then you can have something to review for the last back of the year.
Oh, God. Man, this actually starting to make sense as a business decision.
Man. Could you imagine?
Oh,
I think it's good.
Well, but the wife hates when I use Amazon because they're evil.
Well, don't tell her it was Amazon. Tell them to ship it in a box that wasn't Amazon.
Do a gift. Right. Gift it to yourself. Choose the gift option, and it'll come in gift wrapping.
Ah.
Sending you a present on December 2nd.
How to hide the fact you buy stuff on Amazon from your wife.
That's got to be a big Google search, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Shall we go to Saber Chats then?
I would love to. There's a lot of them. There's upwards of 10. No,
there's
okay. Starting with, what do you know? Alex Armstrong, who gave $5. And said, grew up with a Game Gear and 2 games. Well, steady on. Gave it to charity when I got my Game Boy. Goes to show better tech can't beat fun games and great battery stroke accessibility. Well, quite.
Speaking of the Game Gear, do you remember Sega also released the Sega Nomad, which was a handheld Sega Genesis? You would put in the Sega Genesis cartridges and play them, and that had even worse battery life. And that was a little later on. That was like probably the mid-90s.
I don't even remember that at all. It's a good name for a handheld, though.
Nomad? Yeah, I agree.
Yes. The Wanderer.
Yeah.
The person who goes around to a lot of places.
The Ronin. Yeah, good stuff.
Mr. Daxter gives $19.99 no less.
Wow.
And says, started listening to Bogworld. Loving every second of it so far. Jim is an absolute delight. Also, I love my ROG ally. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying my book. I don't know what the last thing you said means.
I think it's
like
handheld.
a Steam Deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a Steam Deck, but not Steam Deck.
Well, I guess that's relevant.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally on topic. It's more relevant to the first half of the Super Chat.
Pussy Guru 2000 gives €5 and says, the best handhelds were those cheap things that were filled with water, where you had to juggle plastic rings onto posts using water jets.
I love those things.
Oh, yeah, I had one of them.
It is crazy how depressing certain handhelds are. Like those little Tiger Electronic games. Like those are deeply depressing to me when I think about them.
Even bleep, to succeed
bloop,
at.
Bloop, bleep, bloop, 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 bloop.
I would
Game &
complete those.
Watches.
Yeah, yeah.
They were a staple. They were.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Depressing.
that was Nintendo's. That was the progenitor of the Game Boy.
They had one of those where you're a car and there's 3 little spots the car can be in, and you avoid the things coming towards the car. And half the fucking playables on YouTube are like that. In essence,
Yeah,
avoid the things coming at you.
yeah, sounds about right.
Fungus Finder gives $2. It says R.I.P. in pepperoni, Alex. We barely knew ye.
Yeah, sorry, the Alex Armstrong Memorial podcast.
Well, there you go. Yeah, why did you say that?
I don't know. I say that a lot without thinking of the ramifications of the person being dead. I should probably work on that. But
I mean, I suppose, is it really implied in the word memorial that the person's dead? Or could we just, hey, remember this person?
Yeah, I mean, I think of like the Oscars does in memoriam, and it's always dead people in the sad songs. So I don't think it necessarily has to mean that they're dead, but I think there's an implication there.
I mean, there's a reason why Memento Mori has to specifically mention the Mori part.
Yeah, that is true because of Maury Povich.
Anyway, Corvus Vacacio gives $10 and says, the PS Vita holds a special place in my heart because it was how I first played Persona 4 Golden, and that game impacted me greatly. Yeah, I rather enjoyed it. For kind of the reason I really got into Persona for a while.
You're still thinking about that dog and Teddy. You still think about Teddy? Big fat Teddy?
I'm mainly thinking about snogging Chie, if I'm honest.
Oh, classic. But yeah, it's the best Vita game. It's so good. It's just fucking perfect. The Vita was really good. The Vita had a ton of great indies. It had the ability to play a bunch of PS1 games on it, which I liked. It was too good for this world. It was too pure for this world.
100%.
Right off though was that back touch screen on the Vita. That thing was stupid as hell. Any game that it had you use the back touch screen, get out of town.
Yeah.
Let me fondle the spine.
Didn't the Steam Deck have something similar? What am I thinking of?
Steam Deck
a Steam controller?
The Steam controller had paddles
on the back,
and a touchpad, Joy-Con, not Joy-Con, sorry, analog stick.
I saw reports that Steam's doing another controller. I'm like, why are you doing this? Did anyone like the original Steam controller?
Okay, so I got mine. This is how poorly they sold. I bought Dark Souls 3 on release for PC, and Steam then messaged me and were like, hey, do you want a Steam controller for free?
Please take one.
And they just sent me one. And so I played through Dark Souls 3 entirely for the first time with a Steam controller, and I tried my very hardest to convince myself that it was good, and it's not.
Like, you want to convince yourself Valve made this. It has to be good. Valve
it's got to be good.
Things.
Man, touchpad analog sticks can eat my entire ass. Just straight up.
There you go. Eat his ass, everyone.
Sorry, I'm just
thinking about eating ass.
I'm just asking my business partners if they'll buy me a Quest 3. Yahtzee will wear a green hat next week. Gave €10 and said, that's right, I can change my name again. Crazy how time flies. Down to 1 week. If you're crazy enough and actually wear a green hat, I'll pay whatever the hat costed. BOT, hope Switch 2 stays mobile.
Find the most expensive green hat you can.
But then they have to pay. Also, they spelled Yahtzee wrong in their name.
See?
Yahtzee.
A lot of people missed out the H.
Classic Yahtzee. Were we your business partners in that sentence earlier?
Might have been.
I was very taken aback when you said my business partners, and after a couple seconds, I was like, "Isn't that us?"
Wait, that's us.
Yeah. I'm just
weird.
I'm just typing something into the Slack just to clear it with the leads.
Are the business partners in the room with us right now?
One of them is. Corvus Vocatia, member for 2 months. Thank you very much. In tip jar. Hjorth87 gives 50 Danish kroner and says, could use a handheld for couch time when my wife knits, but ultimately I'm very much PC gamer with RPGs and Civilization, etc., so mouse and keyboard wins.
Yeah, I think that it is. There are certain games that just don't translate well, right, to portable
RTS.
things, RTS,
Yes.
4X,
Yeah,
MMOs. Well, I guess some
Stress-
MMOs are on mobile, right?
Yeah, they tried to bring out Command and
Some
Conquer
shit
on
ones, yeah.
PlayStation 1, and I didn't think it really paid off.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta have a mouse and keyboard
Oh yeah, to do your taxes, right, Marty?
to do your accurate and speedy clicking.
Too much clicking. I don't like that much clicking.
Corvusvo KTO gives $10 and says, "My brother and I also had a PSP growing up. Him and I used to play Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on LAN, and it's a core memory of mine."
Yeah, Monster Hunter is an example of a series that was, but that gained its prominence on handheld. That was, and that has now obviously come to everything. But Monster Hunter and Pokemon might be the two examples of games that really
Popped off.
outgrew handheld and are now everywhere.
Yeah. God, I
I'm
love
being
Monster
asked
Hunter.
if I intend to review more than one game with the Quest 3. I'm asking the company to expense.
What if you just say yeah?
Why are we giving Yahtzee tips to like fool us?
Can you do this? Not. What if we do this like 20 minutes from now when we're done with the show?
Sorry, I'm just,
You're just really
Amazon.
excited. You were. I know. We were in a meeting earlier where you were worried about what are you.
I
gonna
want
review
one
for
too.
the last one of the year?
I want to play Batman.
I'm excited to get the work done for the week because I had fuck all else to review except fucking Lego Horizon this week.
Damn.
Tsunami Dusha gives $20. Thank you very much. His signature move, no comment.
Classic.
And then Las Demosas gives 125 somethings and says,
Flashy
in the
peas.
Philippines, I remember legally watching PSP movies and legally, wink, playing Tekken and Monster Hunter with friends and even strangers in malls.
Oh.
That was another thing is that I believe starting with the PSP was incredibly easy to hack and to install.
Like
emulators
jailbreak
on.
it.
To jailbreak it, yeah, and I mean that's I'm not gonna say that that's what my current 3DS is, but my current 3DS has every 3DS, 2DS, and Game Boy Advance game on it.
Nintendo coming for you, dude.
Nintendo can't come for me.
Why do you think you're untouchable?
I don't know. I thought saying it would make it true.
That makes it worse. There's
I
one
thought if I said
Nintendo
it
lawyer
with
now.
confidence, I'd be fine.
There was a Nintendo lawyer who was absolutely chill, was like, and now you've said that, you're fucked. Like,
I'm
the
above the
full
law.
force of Nintendo is going for you.
It's fine. It's fine. No, it's correct. I'll show them all my amiibo.
Okay, fair.
I'll bring them all to court with me. Those will be my
You spent enough money on Amiibo to counter all of the costs of free.
My lawyer is my Captain Olimar amiibo.
Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, I miss the experimental days of the DS/DSi. Those games just felt different. Now every game feels the same. I am aware that it's mostly for the better.
Did get a lot of weird things that I liked.
I know what you mean about everything mostly feeling the same these days. I put that down to loss of parameters and restrictions as well. Because I think, history has taught us if you don't have parameters and then everyone can just do whatever the hell they like, everything just sort of gravitates towards a comfortable middle.
Because of that, I miss DS touchscreens. I miss all the mini games from, I think it was New Super Mario Bros. That you could play multiplayer with another DS, like these little mini games that were all basically touchscreen based.
Yeah,
I love that. I miss the touchscreen. I miss the stylus. Pokemon Ranger, god damn, shit game. I just love spinning round stuff. It's good.
I just want a game that lets me spin. Handhelds with a gimmick that I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting. Was the Hideo Kojima produced the Boktai for the Game Boy Advance, which was a top-down vampire hunting game, but your character's weapon was powered by sunlight. And so the game had this little sensor on top of it, and you would need to bring your Game Boy Advance out into the sun to store up sun energy, because if you played the game at night, all the fucking vampires are out, and they are strong, and they are mean. So you need to store up daytime energy.
Wasn't there a JRPG with a similar premise? Was that Golden Sun?
Golden Sun didn't have that. It was called Golden Sun, but it was just like a traditional.
Also,
16-bit JRPG.
That seems like a bit of a dangerous idea, like kids going to school and leaving their DS in the sun.
Also, it
On
was
in
for
the sun.
the Game Boy Advance, which the original one did not have a backlight, and so if you tried to play the game in the sun, it was almost impossible because it was like
That's
too
the
bright.
trade-off, right?
That's the trade-off. Yeah, that's how the vampires
Super
win.
powerful, but you're blind.
Yeah, yeah, great game. Hideo Kojima,
Well-
you strange man.
I mean, you didn't have to actually put it in direct sunlight. You just had to be in daylight, right?
Just in daylight,
For it
yeah.
to work best.
And apparently,
Throw it
there's
into the
now
sun.
with like emulators and ROMs, you can like input what kind of sun you want, like how much sun you want in the game. So if you're playing the game on a ROM, you can be like, "It's a sunny day. I'm fine. I can kill all the vampires."
Gives 1.99 and says, "You guys are great." I
Thanks,
agree.
Thank you so much.
We certainly are.
It was weird
are.
that you prefaced with like the noise of
Yeah.
like let me find my place.
Nick Warden gives $5 and says, "Nah." Then
All the vowels.
and then
Cheers, Nick.
Mr. Pepe gives $5 and it's their first super chat, so be nice. And says, "Nintendo's now 0 for 2 on attempts at VR, i.e., Labo. Be honest, you all forgot this was a thing too."
Labo. What Labo?
I don't consider Labo
What?
VR.
No, that was just an ancillary. Any more than I consider the mobile VR because you can stick it to your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you put it on your face, and I'm gonna be honest, I never actually played Labo, so I don't know how like much.
Well, no,
I can't imagine it. Like,
one or two
censored
of them was on your face. The rest were like in devices.
Yeah,
They
we're
were like,
seeing it
you
right
would
now.
make-
You could build a fishing
Yeah.
rod.
Yeah,
Well,
you just
I-
build stuff
penis
out
for a
of
house?
cardboard. I think
I
Labo is
would-
cool. I think it's awesome.
I'd have thought it'd be too heavy. Wouldn't like the weight of the Switch screen make it like pull it off your face?
Yeah, the rest, like, see that one. That one's like, oh, you make a controller for a little moving robot. You make a piano. You make, a fishing rod to play a fishing game. It's like it's using
Yeah.
the Switch as a device as an auxiliary on cardboard devices, right? Rather than just strap it to your face and play VR games.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be one of those Nintendo things where it's like they're just going to do it once and then forget about it, or if they're going to do it once and then somehow bring it back and do it really well, like the Wii U. They didn't
Yeah.
forget about the Wii U. They
Well,
brought it back
I
to the
don't
Switch,
think
and they
it
did
was
really well.
intended to be some kind of revolutionary new thing that everyone's going to buy. They had this, and I think it is a really cool use of the Joy-Cons and screen to make cool cardboard contraptions that kids can make with their parents, right?
Mhm.
I think it's a really good educational tool and is really, really creative. I commend Nintendo for doing it, honestly.
Well done, Nintendo.
So if they do bring out a Nintendo dedicated VR thing, do you think they'll call it the Virtual Boy again? Like the Virtual Boy for realsies this time?
It'd be
No, the
Virtual
Virtual
Man.
Man.
The Virtual Man. The Virtual
Marty, we're the
Teenager.
Virtual Men.
Honey, what did you buy? I bought a virtual man.
Yeah.
A
My hands have grown
teenager
in
called
size.
Brian. Da, 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 da.
Is that a British thing? Can you slip into that dimension?
It's Life of Brian. Everyone knows Life of Brian.
It's
I do know that,
technically an
Brian.
English thing.
And it is technically an English thing, but that's a well-known thing.
Where were we? Corvus Vocasio comes back with $5. Says, "I also want to add that the PlayStation 30th anniversary is tomorrow, and they added a bunch of classic menu themes and noises for PS5 to celebrate. Ooh, more of Sony celebrating their past and not their present, eh?"
I thought that. You fucking Astro Boy hater. I think the themes are
Astro
very neat.
Bot. Astro Boy's a different thing.
Oh yeah, Astro Boy's a little
Right.
robot. Little
Yeah.
Mega Man.
Well,
He's
they're both
the Astro
robots.
Boy. Honey, I bought an Astro Boy. He's at home now. He's here with my virtual man.
No, it's the new one. It's it's the Astro Man.
No, Astro Boy was a wholesome little robot boy based on the inventor's dead son, and is not weird at all.
Well, you made it
Definitely
weird when
not
you
weird.
said that. They actually made no, I don't need to go into it. I think the noises on the PlayStation on your overscreen, I think very cool. Also,
Agreed.
the trailer that Eric is showing right now, that is the look at 30 years of PlayStation history. Pretty cool, except for the fact that it starts with Horizon, and they got to stop doing that. I don't understand Horizon. I don't get it. I don't think it's that popular. I don't get it.
I'm totally
What's
with you.
the-
I'm totally with you.
I'm assuming you didn't have Zoids when you were a kid.
What?
Is it candy?
assemble self-assembly robot dinosaurs.
I didn't have
I had
those.
a little robot T-Rex that lit up, and you assembled it yourself. It was great.
Do you like Horizon?
Do I?
Yeah, do you?
I remember sort of liking the first one and kind of not liking the second.
Because it wasn't enough.
I think
like
that kind of
Zoids.
proves Marty's point.
Is this the Zoids
Okay.
that you like? This anime from like the early 2000s?
I don't know. I don't know where Zoids came from. I just know that I had one.
Oh, it looks like it was an anime and then became a toy.
I love battle action. Let me tell you, big fan of battle action.
Hey, I love Beyblades. Beyblades are sick. Yachts is either looking up Zoids or finalizing his purchase on his VR headset. I'm not sure which is which.
Sorry, it's just my wife was calling. I just sent a quick in-podcast text.
Oh, is she shouting at you because there's an Amazon package of your VR headset outside?
Yeah. No, even Amazon aren't that good.
You want me? I can start reading these if you want.
So I keep talking. I just want to.
No. Get your family.
He's got it. He's got it
first. Dekanda, thank you so much. Been in the Green Gang for 6 months. Playing Tetris by passing street lamps was good time. See, that is that is a deeply embedded memory that anyone who had these handhelds before backlighting was a thing has to remember. Like trying to find little pockets in your house to be like, oh, this is a good place. And
that's the most badass one to play as well, right? Because Pokemon turn-based, you can wait to take your turn. Tetris is time-based and it's falling blocks. So you're like, okay, I think that was a straight. I think there's a space on the left, and you go line it up, and then you get the street lamp. You're like, oh fuck!
I want the next Tetris tournament to take place like on a highway, someone playing it on an original Game Boy and having just to use the lights as they pass.
That would be so sick.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, I'm back now.
Welcome back. We're at Alex Armstrong's $2 dono.
Was the DSi really an improvement over the OG DS?
So I never had a DSi. I know there were specific DSi games with it, and it had like a better camera, I think. But it wasn't.
That was the camera one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like a full generational leap or anything.
I think it had a slightly bigger screen footprint as well. Like it was ever so slightly bigger, or had like less like border around the edge.
Yeah, bezel.
Bezeling, that's what it's called. Yeah,
embezzlement. I never had one. I went straight from DS to 3DS. I might have had DS Lite at some point.
I had a DS Lite. I had the OG DS, the DS Lite.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know why my wife was called, because when I just bought that MetaQuest, I had the wrong credit card set up on the Amazon account.
And it said Amazon. Dude, you're in the doghouse.
Whoopsie doodle.
Blame Nick.
Sorry.
Nick stole our credit card information. Also, congrats on getting a MetaQuest.
Anyway, Thought Takes gives $5. It says Microsoft didn't get into handhelds because their Pocket PC failed, and they were still scared from the early 2000 antitrust lawsuits.
And they were probably scared from the what's it called? The box that you put in front and it tracks your body. What's that fucking thing called? The Kinect.
The Kinect.
Oh, the Kinect.
They're probably just scared about they're like, oh, let's take this leap. Oh yeah, you're gonna have a wireframe model in front of you. You can play Knack, and it's like, oh wait, that's the PlayStation. Fuck.
It'd be incredible if you could play Knack.
Getting my shit first party game.
I don't remember a Pocket PC that failed. I mean, maybe I don't remember it because it failed. But...
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I remember the antitrust lawsuits. Isn't Google being cracked down upon at the moment?
Yeah.
What were the antitrust lawsuits? Fill me in.
I mean, I think it was that like Microsoft was monopolizing computers, like PC, because like Windows was monopolizing as an operating system PCs, and that like as computers are becoming more and more a part of like everyone's everyday life and not just certain people who worked on them, it was kind of like, hey, what the fuck is going on here? You are can't be doing this. And you know what? In the end, I don't know. Everything's fine. Everything's a monopoly.
Yeah,
no one's
fine.
crying.
No, buy McDonald's on your Mackies on your Microsoft PC playing on Steam.
I like that
Yeah.
in Australia they call it Maccas. I think that's great.
Maccas, yeah, we call it in England. A lot of people call it Mackies.
I like Mackies. I think that sounds so much better than McDonald's.
I think Macca's is better. It's got more of a sharp.
Sure.
It sounds more definitive. Like, oh, let's go get Mackies sounds like a question. Let's go get Macca's sounds like a command. Right.
Mackies is what a Game Boy eats. Maccas is what a game man eats.
That is the perfect way of putting it.
Yeah, it's called a Macca's in Australia,
Yeah.
or Mickey D's.
And then was it Burger King something different? It's called Burger Region.
It's called Hungry Jack's.
Hungry Jack's, not Burger Regent.
Satiated Jacks is what you are when you come out.
I thought you were just gonna say when you come, and I was like, Jesus.
Damn. Damn, dude. Satiated Jacks.
Dante's Gambit gives £2 and says, PSP was my second screen MP4 player with speaker dock.
Oh, man. You want some real nerd shit. My freshman year of college, I lived about a mile away from campus, and I didn't have an MP3 player yet, so I didn't have a iPod yet. I think I got one the next year. And so for that walk, I was like, well, I want to listen to something. And I believe that December, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories came out for the Game Boy Advance, and I had it in my SP. And so I would put the game in, I would go on the title screen, and I would put it in my pocket, and I would wear it in my headphones and walk to school just listening to the 35-second loop of the Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories title screen.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me tell you, not a lot of satiated Jack there.
No, not really. Hungry for more, Jack.
Hungry for more. And I got an MP3 player. I was like, damn, you can put several songs on here?
Dude, I can skip between 2 songs.
There's more than the Kingdom Hearts theme using the Game Boy Advance sound chip. Incredible.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Shout out to Meccas.
Big shout.
Bookworm776 gives $5 and says, I love the 3DS with games like Fire Emblem, where you can just use the touchscreen to get a bunch of enemy info or flip between maps. It's so useful. Yeah, some games have found interesting things to do with it. There was one puzzle, I think it was in Phantom Hourglass, Zelda Phantom Hourglass, where you had to make an imprint of something on the map.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was expecting you to close the 3DS
Literally
to do it.
Close it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
It's like the fucking uppy downy thing in Sonic 3 as well. They'd never introduced that mechanic up till that point, and I just wasn't mentally in the headspace.
What was the Astrobot problem all over again, right? It's like, what do you want of me? And then if they just tell you, it no longer feels satisfying. But
there was also for 3DS, there was a Bugs Bunny or a Daffy Duck game. And at a certain point, you had to close it to turn the lights off, and Daffy would be yelling at you to turn the lights back on while your handheld was closed because you turned the lights off on him or something. And I remember that being
terrifying.
Real terrifying. I thought there was a duck in there. I was like, we need to get this duck out of here.
There's a living duck in this piece of
we
plastic.
Need to get him out.
What have I done? What's the next
Nita Rom with the $10 dono. Thank you so much, Nita Rom. The Vita is still my favorite, despite the lack of Sony support. People often cite the memory card prices, but the lack of a system seller similar to Pokemon to push units played a much larger part. I agree. There was a lot of very neat games for Vita, but they were by and large niche or experiences you could also just get on home platforms.
Sorry, I was just text apologizing. All right, I'm free of
it's needed.
I'm free of distractions now.
I think that's a VR issue right now as well, right? With that apart from Alex. Yeah, that's VR's huge problem. You cannot text apologize from within VR.
Yeah.
No, there's no system selling, big system selling game. I would say Alex probably being the biggest one for usual PC VR games, and now Arkham. What's it called? Arkham Punch. Whatever it is.
Oh no, Yahtzee owns it.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay,
Shadow?
Arkham Punch
Shadow.
being the quest-free one, right?
Shadow.
Arkham Shadow. That's probably a bit of a system seller right now. Well, we literally just saw someone buy it live because of that game. So I think we can qualify that as a system seller.
Well, I have to play a couple more games on it to justify the expense. But yes.
I believe in you.
Just do them on Yahtzee Tries. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, let's figure out how to get you in VR on Yahtzee Tries. I like that.
I hate streaming in VR. It's such a pain in the ass.
I love it.
Where was I? Vita ROM gives $10 and says, the Vita is still my favorite despite the lack of Sony support. People often cite the memory card prices, but the lack of a system seller similar to Pokemon to push units played a much larger part.
Now you need to send in a fucking text apology to us, because we just read that one. Send that text apology after you send it to your wife. Send one to Jay and I.
Yeah,
Okay.
copy paste it in. But from within your VR headset, copy paste it in.
I will post an apology in the Slack. In the formatting.
No, get off the Slack. Just read the donos.
I will post it in the Slack saying something like, sorry, could you remind me how to submit expense claims? That will be the format of the apology. Dr. Theo gives $5. Says, now I don't endorse emulation on your phone, and I totally am not playing Persona 3 Portable on my phone, even though I own it on Steam. Well, I'd think once you buy something legitimately, you can play it wherever the fuck you like, even if you have to emulate to do it. That's my philosophy. Unless the asking price is too unreasonable. Like, I've played Aria of Sorrow tons of times on emulator, because I did look into buying it on Amazon to just, cover my ass morally. But it was like the only copy was like $150. And I was like, fuck off.
That's the things I emulate are the things I can't just buy easily on one of the 10,000 devices I own.
I agree in theory. Like, I completely agree in theory, but I can't agree in practice because I'm a man who owns like 5 copies of Hollow Knight on different consoles and has never emulates stuff ever. So I agree, but also I'm not a practicing.
You also own 5 copies of Skyrim and none of them work.
Yes.
Exactly. Fuck, don't remind me, dude.
And also I bought Aria of Sorrow when like the collection for GBA came out on Steam. So I'm in the clear.
There you go.
I just finished Circle of the Moon last night, actually. A replay of Circle of the Moon. And I absolutely wasn't getting through that fucking final boss without using the re-releases reverse time feature, I'll tell you that.
That's a real nice feature in those re-releases, yeah.
Dr. Theo comes with $5 and says, RIP Flipnote Studio on the DSi, one of the best social apps I've ever used. Gone too soon.
Yeah, I believe you could send death threats to people using Flipnote and shit. It was great.
What the fuck is a Flipnote Studio?
Yeah, Flipnote was almost like shared Mario Paint with everyone. So it was so it was like all of the shit that Eric's showing right now, but you could then share it with people close to you.
Remember when like 3D Land would let you share messages on levels of Mario?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Wii even did that. There's some like
the Wii U as well.
Yeah, the Wii famously, someone on the like second screen of the original Metroid game is when you get the morph ball and you need to like roll under a little rock, and the message was just, "Why can't Metroid crawl?" And you like imagine it's like a 5-year-old playing this and being like, "Why can't Metroid crawl?"
Why can't Metroid crawl?
I remember the first time playing
Zelda talk.
I remember the first time playing Splatoon on Wii U, and all those like custom drawn pictures hovering over people that were showing furry porn. Memories. Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, thoughts on Microsoft never making a handheld Xbox? I was thinking about this, and I think it's probably just because they're a Western company, and the handhelds were only really, really big in Japan because of the commuter culture.
Mm-hmm.
So the Japanese companies had their handhelds, but Microsoft didn't. There you go.
And it wasn't until this sort of modern shift that we're seeing in the last couple of years, and that's why Microsoft's getting into it now. Even though it's not really going to be... We almost need like a different name for... It's just like... Is it really a handheld if it just plays your Steam library? I don't know. I guess it's in your hands.
If it streams it. If you're playing a game in your hands and you are holding it, it's a handheld gaming console, right? Even if you're because that's the future of this whole generation. Is Xbox are probably going to bring one out. The Steam Deck is capable of similar things, and it's just going to stream games to a handheld system.
I mean, if the screen is integrated with the controller, then yes, it is a handheld. Cree gives $5 and says, this is my confession. When I was a kid, my family and I were moving out of state, so I borrowed a friend's Game Boy and just took it. Shame on me. Did you reach out to them and apologize on Friends Reunited, Cree?
What if they're in the chat right here?
Yeah, now's the time.
Yeah.
Well, the best time to confess was when it happened. The second best time is now.
Beautiful. I think that's beautiful.
And just in case the other person is in the chat, can you donate again with your name, address, your previous addresses, just so they can check to see if it is you and find
and
you.
also your social security number and a couple of proofs of ID.
Also, draft up a couple apology texts. We might need them.
We definitely will need them.
Yes. Witticism gives $10 and says, Yahtzee and Jay, can you explain to me the word toe rag? Both modern usage and etymology, if you got it. Sorry, Marty. Yes, toe rag is a sort of generic insult directed from an authority figure towards someone they consider young or beneath them. It's the sort of word you might associate with a stereotypical British policeman. So, hello, hello, hello. What's all this you're doing right now, you ghastly little toe rag?
Ghastly little toe rags. The little toe rag is usually one. I always saw it in instances where they were referring to children, like little scamps, little orphaned Victorian boys is what I think of a little toe rag.
I looked up toe rag in the etymology dictionary and it doesn't have it. So I'll search.
It's a rag you use on your toes.
Gross.
Origin of toe rag, originally a beggar stroke tramp from the pieces of rag they wrapped around their feet. Well, there you go.
Ah, there we go.
The Dogmatic Director gives $2 and says, Ace Attorney, that's it. Send a super chat.
Ace Attorney was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good. Yeah, Professor Layton, a lot of good. Like that's almost when adventure games died, they continued in those sort of visual novels. That's where we got our Danganronpas, our Hotel Dusks, our all sorts of good stuff.
Frogs are disseminating other frogs for friends. Gives $5 and says, N3DS was the most versatile mobile platform I had. Handheld Switch helped me through immediate long COVID, and Steam Deck's neat and highly repairable.
Repairable? Is your Steam Deck breaking? That's not good.
Yeah. Fix that.
I'm glad to hear it's repairable, though. That's good.
Maybe wipe the sweat off your hands before you use it.
No, sweat harder.
Sweat in the fans.
Tommy
Bring it out
Salty.
into the fans.
Tommy Salty gives 10 PLNs and says, Marty will wear a cozy sweater in all weeks.
I wore a hoodie on a stream yesterday and people were weirded out by it. Because it was my
I can't imagine that. I don't want to see that.
Yeah. It was like, it was like regular me, but with a hoodie.
I'm wearing a cozy fleece. I only stopped wearing a bathrobe on these because I started taking the dog for a walk before the stream.
Is that
I'm wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, what is that? Is that an Evangelion hoodie? What is that?
No, it's band Polyphia. Wait till you see the back, dude. Look, it's got like.
Hell! What's that?
It's like Mother Mary with a rib cage out, dude.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, a game where handheld version beats its console version. Well, I don't know about individual games, but that's franchises. Like Castlevania, better on handhelds. But as for individual games that have a better handheld version, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm now looking at the handheld games I own.
I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System, and there was a Game Gear version that was very similar. But that wasn't very good.
Yeah, the Game Gear versions always felt like lesser thans.
Yeah, well, that was like necessary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember playing Mortal Kombat on the original Game Boy. Jesus Christ, that was awful.
Bloody hell, that sounds grim.
Going back to games and always seeing that, they had completely separate developers, one working on the console version and one working on the handheld version. There was like a handheld version of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games that are like isometric and completely different than the regular Tony Hawk games. But
I know. Isn't there like a handheld version of Daikatana that's just like a top-down RPG?
Yeah.
Mad. B Pendragon gives $5 and says, the Steam controller crawled so the Steam Deck control scheme could run. Well, that's how it works. That's iteration for you. That's how the Wii U became the Switch.
I never use... I don't use either of those little, like, trackpads on my Steam Deck. I play a lot of Steam Deck, but I only just use the analog sticks, buttons, and D-pad. Like, I never use those two little square trackpads. They feel nice. I like the haptic feedback when you kind of roll across them, how it kind of emulates the feel of like a mouse. But
they do great haptics.
Yeah.
Yahtzee will wear a green hat next week, gives €2 and says, I saw that $960 green cap on. I ain't paying that. XD.
Well, too bad. You said we gotta.
Who's
Legally,
who's
Yeah,
selling-
we've got legally binding.
Man, $960 for a green cap. It better be a really fucking good cap.
Oh,
Like one of those ones you can attach drinks cans to with the straws extending to your mouth.
And it's got like a propeller on the top.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the world's best hats.
Oh,
Little blowjob dispenser at the back.
It dispenses the concept of blowjobs.
Yeah, from the
Yes.
From
Or
the
just
back.
people just get blowjobs from the back of your head. So if you're doing like a school photograph, you can like get in good with whoever's behind you.
Sure. I have a couple questions, but I'll save them off stream.
Now this is the Twilight Zone.
Is that the hat? Is that the blowjob hat? Oh no, it's the green hat. Never mind. Oh, that was a different hat.
Spooky Shran gives $5 and says nothing, but it's their 5th super chat on our live stream. Good,
Damn.
getting into the swing of things, Spooky Shran.
Thanks, Spooky Shran.
And then M gives 25 PLNs and says, well, if you paint your Quest 3 green and wear it next podcast, there might be a sponsor for that. That's
There we
not
go.
a hat, though. That's a headset. It's only a hat if it covers the top of your head. Do you consider an accountant's visor to be a hat? Because I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I think I would. But then when does a hat stop and begin?
A visor is just like a real sexy hat that
No,
lets you
it's
show some
not.
skin.
It's a thing you wrap around the front of your face.
I know. It was like a real sexy version of it.
Is a
Man,
headband a hat?
Oh hell yeah, that's the sexiest hat there is.
This is a weird way to find out Marty has like a headband fetish.
Is a tiara a hat?
Yeah, that's a fucking nepo hat.
Is a
you know?
crown a hat?
Yeah, it's a nepo hat.
Nepo hat.
Yeah.
See, that's interesting. A crown probably is a hat, but a tiara is not a hat.
That's sexist.
Why? Because it doesn't meet at the back? Like,
I suppose so. A hat needs to like encircle the head.
so a visor is a hat.
No,
Fuck, get your rules straight, dude.
man. Well, I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
Enforce them. Hello.
Yes. Hello. What's all this then? You calling this tiara hat, are you? You Sunny Jim?
You don't.
You're in big trouble now, my little toe rag. God, it's jumped to the bottom again. Abdel Corrales gives $5 says, hey guys, here's some money for Marty and Jermaine to give more tips for Yahtzee to get a new VR for his business partners.
He already bought it, and his wife yelled at him.
Yeah,
We're good. You'll get to hear his thoughts in a few weeks.
there you go.
Yeah.
Denmark gives $2 says, I want a virtual man. Also, it's my birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Denmark.
birthday.
HBD Denmark.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
everyone in Denmark.
Wow. The entire country?
Country of Denmark
Yeah.
was birthed.
Everyone just gets born on the same day because they have like a sort of legally like enforced sex day, which is the only day you can have sex in Denmark.
Man, can you imagine March 2nd? What a day that is in Denmark. People
I
just
know.
get bogged down.
It's my birthday on Sunday.
Whoa! Pre-HBD.
Man.
Pre-HBD.
Wow.
I'm going to be 30 years old.
Wow.
Man, you don't get so many birthdays in the second half of the year, do you? When I was a kid, like I feel like everyone had their birthday parties before me, and my birthday's in May.
Mm-hmm. So that's summer fucking, dude.
I suppose.
All that summer fucking.
Like both my kids were born in January. It makes things awkward for the spacing out the birthday parties. I tell you that.
Yeah, I bet.
Should have planned that.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Marty's the nicest guy. I want to have drinks with you."
Oh no, you figured out my burner account. Thank you, Alex. I want to have drinks with you as well.
And then there's a little icon of what I believe is a sex on the beach.
Looks delicious.
Orange,
It's a little-
cranberry
little
juice,
early.
and peach liqueur.
A little early in the day for me, but it looks delicious.
Tsunami Dusha gives $5 and says, "Extra tip for a topic near to my heart." Well, thank you, Tsunami Dusha. Who breaking his silence at last.
The only thing that could break it were handhelds and the horniness of visors.
Yeah, 100%.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Speaking of books, next Dida book, when? I need it."
Yeah,
I'm currently in the process of writing the first draft, although I didn't start that long ago. I'm on like page 30 or something. I actually started the book on the day Trump got elected. Because I woke up, checked the news, stare at the ceiling for like a day, and then thought to myself, "Fuck it, I'm going to try to get something positive out of this," and channeled my my creative energies. I wrote the first page of my new book that I'd been putting off.
Great way of looking at it.
I got really drunk and I watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Well, also a great way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to watch a movie that depicted society being destroyed by nuclear apocalypse, but I didn't know. I won't yuck your yum.
I thought it was about something else.
You went in cold to Terminator Judgment Day.
I was like, "Wow, watch out! Arnie's gonna get you!" And I'm like, "Oh no, he's the good
mech man!" Whoa.
So now not done that one. Alex Armstrong, done that one. Doublefinger gives €2 and says, "Some money for my well-groomed Brits and the Yank." Are you a Yank, Marty? How far north do you have to go to be considered a Yankee?
I mean, I think everyone in the States is considered a Yankee. Yeah, I mean, I am north enough to be a Yankee. There's the only thing north of me is Canada.
But
that's right.
Yeah, it's like if he's a Yankee, we're Wankies.
You guys are absolute wankies.
Yeah. We are wankies and we wank all day.
All day.
What about
wanky doodles, no less?
Oh, no.
Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says there was also a controversy with the PSP and how much porn was being searched for on it, although it may be news outlets blowing things out of proportion. The only controversy I remember attached to the PSP was the ad campaign where they had the white person subjugating the black person.
Yeah, that was a very bad, how did this get through several lines of approval?
Was that the PSP? Because there was another with the PSP where they put graffiti around some cities, advertising the PSP, and the actual graffiti artist got really pissed and painted over them.
Jeez.
Remember that? Am I the only one who remembers that?
I don't remember that.
In the early
I remember the first one.
Illegal marketing.
Yeah.
Adam Parker gives £4.99 and says, "Still hold a grudge that my mum sold the original Game Boy I won off the milkman." Yes, the milkman.
You won?
Man. That milkman was shirking off his duties, I fear.
Who is this?
How did you win a Game Boy from Milkman?
I guess
we need a second half of that story.
The milkman just came around one day and was playing on a Game Boy. And you opened the door to collect the milk and said, "Can I buy that off you?" And then you did.
No, he said one off, not bought off. One.
Because
there was a challenge involved.
The milkman was bragging about how no one can drink a gallon of milk without throwing up. And it turns out Adam Parker just opened up his gullet and just downed that 2%.
And then with one big burp said, "Give me that fucking Game Boy now."
Yeah. And then his mom sold it.
Pitch.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "I saw a fan-made Portal D-make on DS. Looked cool." Yeah, I saw that.
About those D-make things.
Someone made a browser game D-make of Portal in 2D, as I recall.
I think D-makes are neat to look at. I never want to play any of them.
Okay.
They're neat from a distance.
SussyGuru2000 gives €10 and says, "Knockoff handhelds back then truly were a tragedy. Kids today have it so good. They can buy a knockoff handheld and it'll play nearly every proper game from old consoles."
I do have.
Yeah.
I have a problem with buying handheld emulators. I just keep buying them because they just keep releasing new ones that look really neat, and I'm like, "Ooh, this one's nice."
How many do you own? Do you have one to hand right now?
Not in this room, no. I do have something in hand that I'm going to show soon, though.
Well, you don't have that much of a problem then. Keep going.
I remember seeing one of those. We were talking about those shitty LCD games earlier. I've seen those deliberately made in the shape of a Game Boy or in the shape of a PSP.
Yeah.
It sells.
Which is sort of ruins the charm of the LCD game, if you ask me. Suddenly turns it into a very cynical thing. $2 Canadian from Dimitri. Yes, reversed it that time. And says, "Did the Playdate take off yet, or is it still niche?"
Crank.
Marty's
Crank.
Marty's a cranky boy.
I'm cranking.
He's got his cranky.
Midstream crank.
He's a cranky doodle. He's having a cranky doodle dandy.
I don't think I've turned this on in a year.
Oops.
It's dead permanently.
Oh well.
It is still extremely niche. It has not taken off. However, I'm glad that I own one. You could bury it with me like a fucking pharaoh.
I mean, it'll be an interesting collector's item in like 50 years, probably, especially if it works.
Yeah.
The dogmatic
Play-Date is very small. DeForest, very small.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking of getting one, but that is certainly not conducive to the larger-handed gentleman.
You would crush it.
The dogmatic director gives $2 and says, Game Boy Daikatana is actually better than PC Daikatana. You know, I've heard that, but it wasn't a high bar to clear, was it? PC Daikatana sucked shit.
You should do that. Do a full Ramamak on Daikatana.
I did. Well, I did a zero punctuation on Daikatana way back when.
Never mind.
It was one of my let's all laugh at an industry that never learns anything tee-hee-hee episodes. Mr. Peppy gives $5, says, does the handle on the GameCube technically make it a handheld? No. Where's the integrated screen, dumbass?
Wow, Mr. Peppy just got buried. No, it technically makes the GameCube a briefcase. So you can look like a businessman.
Yes.
That can only hold.
You can look like a very small, pathetic businessman.
They can only hold very small CDs.
Yes.
Jeez, I don't know what the mini discs. I don't know what those discs were called on a GameCube.
They were just their own thing. Just
Little
GameCube
boys.
discs.
Little boys.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, Yahtzee, why wasn't there a ZP Imp hat for merch? Because we don't own the rights to the ZP Imp anymore, is the easy answer to that.
Yeah.
If you're asking why there was never one of the Escapist, I thought there was. I'm pretty sure I have one somewhere. But then, you know, there have been many different iterations of Escapist merch.
Sure. You should get a visor. We should do a ZP Imp visor.
Marty, you need help.
I've never worn a visor in my life. I don't even like hats. My head's too big.
You just buy a big hat then?
Oh, you don't understand how big this head is.
You can get
I
hats
understand
custom
big
made.
Every hat I've bought, I've had to buy the largest size available because I have such a vast and prodigal head.
You're so big. You're such a man, Yachts.
With my brain so full of thoughts.
It's full of meat.
Too many thoughts.
Abdel Corrales gives $2 and says, just wanted to say, HBD to Jamate.
I'm not sure if this is actually saying HBD for Sunday or like a few streams back, people started saying happy birthday to me for no reason, and I got irrationally mad at the chat. I think it's that. Abdul, you're either great or a cretin. You're both.
No, you're within a week of your birthday. We could say pre-HBD.
All right. Cheers, Abdul. Love you, dude.
I mean, my youngest keeps running up to me going, happy birthday, and handing me a collection of like foam blocks that she says is a cake.
Oh,
Legend.
that's nice. That's very nice.
Have you considered having children? They're fucking adorable.
Yeah, they are. I love kids.
Then I can afford all these prankers.
You know how they say you understand when you've got one of your own? Well, I understood once I had one of my own.
Oh.
It's almost like that phrase is said for a reason, right?
My kids are adorable, and everyone agrees. Literally everyone agrees.
We weren't saying they weren't.
We weren't disputing it.
Good, because they are. Venomon Killer gives $2 and says HBD to... Oh, hang on, missed one. Venomon Killer, member for 11 months in the Green Gang, says, how do Brits feel about Jaffa Cakes? Hi, Marty. I like Jaffa Cakes very much.
Jaffa Cakes.
How do you eat them? I always peel the orange bit off first and eat them separately like an Oreo.
Yeah, I take the chocolate off, then the orange bit, and then I save all of the bottom bits into one massive sandwich, and then I crush them down, and then I slam them down my gullet like a seagull.
You monster.
Yeah.
I also have been known to dip my Jaffa Cakes in milk.
Ooh, I've not tried that. That sounds good, though.
They get
Does it soak it up?
Oh yeah, they get totally infused. You got to eat them quick, or they fall apart like sharpish.
Oh, welcome to the Twilight Zone, Marty.
A good thing to do.
The Polish version. I've had the Polish version of these. They're called Delicia.
Yes, there are
cool,
multiple brands.
Yeah.
If you look around, like I've seen in the US, they have basically what are Jaffa Cakes, but with raspberry filling rather than orange.
Yeah.
You can get those at the Safeway.
I like these. These are good.
Yeah, Jaffa Cakes are great.
Venomon Killer gives $2. Says HBD to Jamate from a fellow Gunpla builder. Yeah. You and your fucking
I had to get rid of all my Gunpla when I came to the States. It's all gone.
Wow. Now's your excuse to start a whole new Gunpla collection.
I love building them. I don't give a shit about the anime, but man, building intricate mechs. It's cool.
I just finished a new Gundam anime that was all animated in Unreal Engine 5, which is weird. And like the humans were kind of ugly, but let me tell you, the mech shit cool as hell.
Hell yeah.
Fungus Finding is $2. It says, call a southerner a Yank. That'll go over well. You're all Yanks. Some of you are just in denial. I seem to recall there was this whole Civil War thing to decide the matter.
Yeah, Captain America and Iron Man.
And why don't you tell us about that?
So Bucky Barnes, it turns out, killed Iron Man's parents, and he found out, and he got very angry. But Captain America has like a homoerotic relationship with Bucky Barnes that want to defend him to his doom, and they fought in an airport. It was very cool. Spider-Man was there.
Damn.
Okay. Number 10 gives $5. It says, is there anywhere for the handheld console to go since the invention of the Switch? It's basically the perfect fusion. Not
Switch,
not
but
really.
better.
Yeah, Steam Decks. Also,
Yeah.
VR, AR glasses with little windows in the corner of your vision, like I keep saying.
You love the
I'd buy
little
one.
window thing, don't you?
I'd buy one as long as it doesn't make you look like a bell end, as previously discussed. Or someone who'd be very easy to rob.
A robbable bell end is the
Yes.
worst kind.
Robbable bell end. I think that was something the Hamburglar said once.
Yeah.
Bill Willis gives $2.99 $8 and says, Yahtzee better have his green hat ready. I don't have a green hat.
Go get a green
Actually,
hat.
tell a lie. We just got a Christmas tree themed bobble hat for the kids. One of them's Christmas tree themed, one of them's reindeer themed.
Oh, I think we know what's coming.
Also, if you guys think,
But it is far too small a bobble
working
hat
on-
for my prodigy's head.
if you guys think Eric hasn't been spending the last month working on like a green hat filter for Yahtzee next week, you're fucking.
I will foil it by covering one eye,
You
as
are
established.
She'll be in an eye patch. You got to get the anti-eye patch technology, Eric, so it works.
What about the Uncle Eye Patch?
Or I'll
Oh my
just
God.
wear a fucking like Rorschach mask. So I have no discernible facial features at all.
There you go.
As long as it's green Yahtzee, I don't give a shit. You can wear whatever you want.
A mask isn't a hat,
It encompasses your entire head.
but it
Yeah, what
also
if
Based
you
on
roll
your
it up?
rules.
What if you roll it up like mid robbery?
Oh man, you've just blown my fucking mind.
Yeah, like a balaclava.
Well, then it transitions from a mask to a hat.
Oh my god, it's like a beast war.
Yes, but while it is a mask, it is not a hat.
Incredible.
Gildon Yet Edge gives $5 and says $5 to Yacht's Quest 3 fund. I think it's a pretty good platform. If only it didn't involve standing with a blindfold on wherever my cat wants to be.
Yeah, you got to watch out. You got to not have toffee in that room when you're playing. You can step on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have in the past accidentally punched a dog in the face while playing in VR. It wasn't Toffee, it was my last dog.
It's the description of punch.
Yeah.
Hit would have sufficed, but it's the idea that you full ham fist
Sock
with your
him right
big
in the
man
jaw.
hands, by the way, Yachts, which you're very
Yeah.
keen to tell us about.
Some of the
You
biggest-
Yes.
launched into a dog's face.
Oh no, the filter outsmarted the cover the eye technique.
Oh no.
Anti-eye patch technology.
Hand and mouth. Eye and mouth. There you go.
Yeah, for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm comfortable. Are you?
To the audio
Turkish-
listeners out there, hello.
Turkish
please-
Ran gives $5. And then Susiguru 2000 gives another €5 and says, just like every American state is basically Texas to the average European.
Yeehaw.
You doggy.
Yeehaw. Not California, though. California's different.
Which is West Texas.
West Texas. It's New
Couldn't
Mexico,
even get
isn't
the
it?
sentence out.
That is and AZ.
Oh,
Old Taos. Old Kirky. ABQ.
where Breaking Bad was said.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's all the super chats for now. Thank you very much for listening to the Windbreaker podcast. Yes, we've got a couple more of these for the end of the year. So let's hope we can think of seasonal topics for all of them.
Well, next week is Jay's birthday, so Jay gets to choose a topic.
Oh,
Cool.
quite.
Oh, are we gonna? Is the one from 2 weeks from now gonna be on Monday? Because I'm not gonna be back by that Monday from Omar's wedding. I'm coming back Monday evening.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
We can figure it out.
I'm back on the Sunday because I'm committed.
I'll be back.
Listen,
be
you
back.
got loved ones to come back to. I want to go around
Well,
Baltimore and just eat lobster.
But
Okay.
we are in Baltimore till late into the evening, so we'll come hang
Maybe
in
we can push
Baltimore
to
with you,
Tuesday.
Martin.
Maybe we can go.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
we can do
staying.
Tuesday.
I mean, we're all staying at least a night there, so we can hang out on the Sunday morning.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Not that this is the place to discuss our personal
I mean,
plans.
this has been the place where you've discussed apologizing to your wife, where you've
Yes.
discussed whether or not we should buy you a VR headset, and also why visors are the sexiest of all headwear.
Yes, and I also regret admitting that my girls both have birthdays in January because that's part of the way towards doxing them, isn't it?
Oh no! Well, you don't
Bloody
know.
hell.
It could be the other January. Just
Aha. Yes.
The end of the year, January.
Yeah.
So that'll be it from us today. I was Yahtzee Crowshaw. I was joined by Jay and Marty. What have we got this week? Well, what's yes, a fully emblematic, of course, on Wednesday, which will be on the subject of Slitterhead, horror game by the dude who made Silent Hill and Forbidden Siren, and is certainly interesting, if not, world breaking.
Slitties unite. We call ourselves Slitties, fans of the game.
I've also got my Yahtzee Try stream on Wednesday, subject matter to be determined, and I have a semi-emblematic dropping on Thursday. That's all my stuff, I
forgot
think.
what that one's about. I read it and I already forgot what it's about.
Semi-emblematic. It's about revising my Game of the Year awards.
Yeah. I think we might have talked about that on this. I think when we did the 2014.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, that's when I got the idea for this
Look at that.
semi-emblematic.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's like we've got some kind of law going on. It's second wind law.
People are going to remember this podcast as the birthplace of your VR headsets. So there you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And your visor fetish.
And my visor fetish. No, that was long ago.
That was when I was born.
It's one of those hard things to explain to people that I don't have a visor fetish, that this is a bit. I'm not even 100% sure what a visor is.
Dude, think about me and my gug chair nonsense. Like,
yeah. You went
All right. Moving on. Plug your stuff, gentlemen.
Design Delve came out last week. Check that out. On the best multiplayer stealth horror game you're not currently playing. And then we got DevHeads this Friday, where we have Game Maker's Toolkits coming on, which should be pretty fun. Unless he cancels. Hey, he might cancel. He might watch this and cancel. So
remind him that he owes me a Starstruck Vagabond review, because I did Mind Over Magnet in Yahtzee Tries.
I will. So that should be fun. Me, Tina, and Game Maker's Toolkits will be on talking about things. I may potentially be on Yahtzee Tries with Yachts on Wednesday, unless he decides otherwise.
Oh, will you now? Ooh, Mr. Pushy.
Oh,
we spoke about that last week. I said sign me up for next week, and you said, as you usually do, K, because you're incapable of saying more than one syllable.
I can't remember every single tiny conversation I have with every little person.
Thanksgiving. That was years ago.
I'm full of food. So, all right, I may or may not be on that. And then, maybe personal streams are starting up this week. We'll see.
Oh, fine. You can come on Yahtzee Tries this week, you big baby.
Thanks. And then Twitch personal streams might be starting this week, potentially. Might be on Friday. We'll see. We're settling into a schedule. It's a whole lot of something to organize. But yeah, that is moi.
We did it. Hidden Gems. Later tonight, they're playing a scary game that starts with a T. I forgot what it was, but it starts with a T.
Okay. Thanks for the fucking professionalism there, Marty.
I'm not playing it. I just requested
It's called
the art.
Tormenture.
Yeah, I think it's one of those game within a games. You're a game, but you're trapped in a game. There's some spooky shit going on around.
I think that's what someone like meets you at a party, and you fall in love with them when you get like tongue tied, and they say it was nice to meet you. You could say it was nice to torment you too. Oh shit!
That's a good one. Send that to Casey, Jesse, and Jess to use tonight, and everyone pretend it was the first time you heard it. And then normal streams. We got Firelink on Wednesday. Liza P is back with Jess and Jack on Thursday at noon. Casey and I back at Metroid Prime Thursday evening. And then after DevHeads on Friday, I believe we're going to be doing 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Indiana Jones launch day stream because early access comes out on Friday.
Oh, dude,
Right.
I'm so excited about that game.
I have a feeling it's going to suck.
I have a feeling
We're
I'm
based-
just
It's
gonna
by a
enjoy whipping
team that
things.
you like games from, right?
Yeah,
Who's it by?
Machine Games, the Wolfenstein
Machine
crew.
Games.
Oh, well, they also made Wolfenstein Youngblood, let's not forget.
But that doesn't count.
I think it's going to suck largely because it's coming out in December, which is the dump month for things the publishers have no faith in.
It was.
That's why
but
I was. That's why I was born then.
Yes,
oh no, you're
exactly.
the dump month. No, Far Cry 3, Smash Ultimate, Immortals, Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, Phoenix Rising sucked.
No, it
I
didn't
don't-
suck. It didn't suck.
Kind of
It was,
did.
it was the visor of
It
video
didn't
games.
sell.
It didn't sell. People afraid. The end.
Boo, the end.
Oh, wait, the
Uh,
message.
oh, yes. The Winged Potato last minute super chat gives $4.99 and says, "Welcome to Baltimore preemptively. We are a weird bunch."
Watching all of The Wire to prepare myself.
I know.
Don't
I've
doubt
played
it.
this. I've played the Suffering Ties That Bind. I know what to expect. Just
Did that take place in Baltimore? That's a good pull.
it actually did.
Wow.
I know what to do when the monster based on people who got buried alive sprouts out of the ground.
Oh no, are we gonna have to fight that man?
Oh,
If
yeah.
we're going to
Was at the
Baltimore, we will. Yeah.
He's officiating Omar's wedding. The man who buries people alive.
No, that's the dude who represents knife crime, is who officiates the weddings.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember the suffering. I think I thought it all took place in a prison, and now you're just telling me all this stuff I don't know.
Feels like
the
a
first
fever
the
dream.
first one took place in a prison, and the second one takes place in Baltimore, and all the monsters are based on the historical violence that takes place in the city.
Incredible.
So they got the knife dude who in the first game represented getting shivved. In the second game represents knife crime in Baltimore.
Gotcha.
How
Reuse
niche.
the assets. Just
Yeah.
change the focus. Beautiful.
Anyway, I gotta go have my lunch because I'm hungry.
Bye, everyone.
Then I'm
Thanks for hanging
going to go sit out on the porch and wait for my Quest 3 to arrive. Bye, everyone.
out. Gotta take a
Bye.
little bit. Get your crank off.
Bye.